What do you think of when you hear the word chaos? Disorder? Disarray? Wanton destruction? Final Fantasy?
I'm here to kill chaos. That's my mission. Looks like chaos has been waiting for us. I only know one thing. I want to kill chaos.
You sure chaos is here?
This is the Shrine of Chaos. He's here. Chaos. We're here to kill chaos.
I become chaos.
Sorry, we had to get that joke out of the way. Actually, you know what? No. That actually leads me to my next question. How would you represent chaos in the form of a character? Is Final Fantasy not doing it for you? Well then, how about Sega's take? No. I don't mean this monster, but keep him in mind. We'll get back to him in a moment. I meant our favorite blue, occasionally yellow, hedgehog. Chaos is a word with a lot of negative connotations, and understandably so. It's the lack of order and reason. But that doesn't always have to mean that it's a bad thing. It doesn't mean it has to be a good thing either. It could be both. It could be neither. And it's also one of the most fitting ways to describe the Sonic franchise, with releases just all over the map, not just in terms of quality, but gameplay styles, narrative tone, you name it, it's all over the place. And after 30 years, as we look on to what comes next, when it boils right down to it, absolutely nobody in this fan base, be it newcomers or old-timers like myself who've been around since the early days, none of us can say with any sense of certainty what's actually next for the franchise in terms of how we're gonna like it. Now, it's amazing that any video game gets out the door, and when they do a good job, they sometimes can make it look easy. But there have been more than a couple times where it feels like the devs behind certain Sonic games had no idea what they were doing. And even in some of the better games, if you dig deep enough, you have to wonder how many happy accidents came together to get these titles onto shelves. Truly, what a fitting mascot Sonic ended up being, representing a company that feels like it's flying by the seat of its pants. King of the console market 1 minute, on the verge of bankruptcy the next. And for decades, miraculously, despite some disastrously stupid decisions, Sega and the Sonic series have pulled through. Now, I'm not the first person to point this out, but that's usually where the analogy ends. Like I said, chaos is usually associated with a lot of negative connotations. But if you look back at the very beginning of the franchise, you can see chaos even there, and as it turns out, that's exactly what the industry needed. Sega's staff members came together and created a creature born of 90 sensibilities that somehow, despite the ridiculous future ahead of him, would become one of the most recognizable gaming icons ever conceived. And the introduction of this character shook the video game landscape, tackled the organized empire of Nintendo, and changed the industry forever, all by walking into Mario's house and causing a little chaos. But that's not where it ends, because chaos is in the very pixels of this series, as the literal word itself is used to title the iconic MacGuffins of the franchise, the Chaos Emeralds. And ironically enough, despite whatever else we might hear, I do think the very term chaos was used without any real rhyme or reason. I think, like so many other things in this franchise, things we're going to talk about very shortly, they use the word because it sounds cool. I mean, these things aren't even cut like emeralds, and only one of them is green. This is pure madness. Now, we'll get back to all that chaos business in just a bit, but let's get to the actual focus of the video. And that's what happens when the player manages to collect all of these chaos emeralds. In terms of design, Sonic the Hedgehog is the answer to the question, how do we make a cartoon character look cool? Oh, that's how you do it. What a great style. What a rad, contemporary, yet timeless look. But how do we make him look even cooler than that? Frost them tips, baby. We're going full Fieri today. As it turns out, we were running around with an incomplete set of Chaos Emeralds at the end of Game 1, but Game 2 added another, bringing the total to 7. And once you make your way through the challenging special stages and nab them all, you transform into Super Sonic. Sonic already had a striking design, and they just ramped up the intensity with a bleach job and a dab of gel. And look, I know I made a name for myself on this platform, and a lot of you hopped on board from a video about that one time Sega swapped out the Christmas lights from their plain old yellow and brought in the multicolor to give us Hypersonic. And I don't think I need to explain to any of you how much I cherish that form. But the fact of the matter is, the Super form kinda does all the heavy lifting in terms of awesome power-ups and neat design design changes. Yes, I do want Hyper back. Sega, just make him a pride icon. Why wasn't he used in Sonic Colors? Just a perfect opportunity. But that's not the focus of today, because as it turns out, the initial transformation of Super Sonic is pretty cool as is. It's also much easier to market since we only have one color to worry about. And what a fantastic choice it is. Another primary color, a bright yellow that can be seen as a heroic golden glow or a fierce raging fire. And the design is perfectly balanced between both of those ideas. I mean, just looking at it, you know what I'm talking about, right? And as a sprite, it stands out beautifully from the backgrounds, and it matches with the already well-known golden rings that feed its power. It's a distinctive and drastic shift from the iconic blue fur, but you don't need to do a thing to Sonic's shoes because those kicks look great on a blonde. And to add to that wild flame look, his quills have shot upward, indicating an overflowing energy which is displayed with his insane speed and invincibility, which are, once again, giving a connection to those rings dotted all over the land, which could play into a bit of fun lore connecting the power of the super form with the rings. But most importantly, this acts as a reward to the player, yet makes a fantastic shift in gameplay. Because yes, Super Sonic is invincible, therefore you don't lose all of your rings when running through badniks, but now they have to act as a fast draining battery. And if you think about it too hard, you have to wonder to yourself, well, what's even the point of collecting all these rings if he's just gonna lose them either way? But hey, we weren't worried about it back in the day, and honestly, it kept things fun. Because otherwise, once you master the special stages and got the super form, you really wouldn't have any incentive to ever turn it off or hunt down rings. It gives you something else to do, even if you unlock the ultimate ability. It's quite brilliant, honestly. He's got the flipped up spikes, amped up speed, invincibility, epic final encounters. Yeah, Super Sonic is pretty iconic. And he's also a complete ripoff. Y'all been around the Wii block at least once, there's no way you don't know about Super Saiyans. And even if you do, I know some of you are already in the comments typing up some false information. And I can't believe in the year of our Crocodile Lord 2021, I still get comments claiming that Super Sonic dropped before Super Saiyan. No! You stupid idiot child! No! Obviously no! You got Google right there on the internet you're using to make yourself look like a dum-dum. It's true that the Dragon Ball Z anime dropped after the release of Sonic 2, but Super Saiyan Goku popped up in the Dragon Ball manga in April of 1991. That's a couple months before even the first Sonic game. And Yuji Naka has openly admitted to being a Dragon Ball fan. 7 Dragon Balls, 7 Chaos Emeralds, and don't even get me started on the Death Egg or Castle in the Sky or all this other stuff. I mean, for crying out loud, look at the Super Sonic concept art. Does that look familiar? And no, to everybody claiming that Ultra Instinct copied from Hypersonic, you need... Stop leaving those comments. I was just making a stupid joke at the end of that Hypersonic video. Hypersonic Flash is multicolor, not silvery white. That is just fan art. And I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if Goku decided to change his hair color years after the fact. The initial Super Saiyan transformation is that game changer. Different colors were gonna happen, be it from Dragon Ball or somewhere else. Goku is the OG. He can dye it whatever he damn well pleases.
You know your hair?
I know of it.
It's all blue.
I change my hair every week and a half to get used to it.
Shonen manga, anime, all of men's hairstyles circa 1997. Just pop culture in general, all has so much to thank Dragon Ball for. And the Super Saiyan transformation, while pretty prominent, is just a piece of that. And yes, Sonic copied it, but that doesn't have to be a bad thing. And come on, it just looks fantastic on Sonic. It's okay that the Hedgehog copied the style of the Saiyan. Son Goku has been a trendsetter on so many levels, and all of pop culture is better for it. And again, Sonic's daddies have never shied away from where they got the inspiration, proudly shouting out their love of Toriyama's work. And, you know, I don't think he's hurting in terms of cash money or reputation. I think he's doing just fine. Super Sonic would be a problem if Sega was in denial, like so many Sonic fans seem to be. But nobody is. They knew what they were making, and everybody's fine. Super Sonic is an homage to Super Saiyan, but that doesn't mean he can only ever be a copy. That doesn't mean Sonic can't make it his own. And maybe the developers were just focused on giving us a new way to reward the player. Maybe it's just pure gameplay. Maybe there's no deeper lore to it. But this franchise has been around for a long time. There's certainly been a lot of creators on satellite material that have come up with fantastic concepts in terms of chaos or the super forms. And then, of course, there's the rest of the fan base, like myself, who like to overthink these things and see what kind of brilliance we can find in all of this chaos. Actually, let's look at that term again. Webster's dictionary describes chaos as a state of utter confusion, a confused mass or mixture, or the confused, unorganized state of primordial matter before the creation of distinct forms, or the inherent unpredictability in the behavior of a complex natural system, such as the atmosphere, boiling water, or the beating heart. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty familiar. Let's move on past the classic games and jump on to the Dreamcast, and to Sonic Adventure, where they'd literally named the primary antagonist Chaos. And really, if you were going to design a creature that represented the very idea of that term, they did a pretty bang-up job. What's more fitting than a monster made of liquid, not confined by any one solid form, and actually taking a different base shape with each newly acquired Chaos Emerald. And while the base form had this alien yet humanoid form, something somewhat recognizable, when it has all 7 Chaos Emeralds, it becomes a monster, a flood with teeth, an unpredictable flurry of animalistic fury, a raging storm, a god of destruction. A god that's incorrectly named, because, that ain't perfect chaos. This is. Despite the emeralds now being drained of their energy, their brilliant color and glow faded. Even with these dull and dead rocks, Sonic finds the other side of the chaos. And yes, that can equate to destruction, but in the hands of someone who thrives on the unpredictability of a new day, someone who embraces freedom despite its dangers, someone who can look at an overwhelming force and instead of stopping, instead of turning around and hightailing it, he instead speeds up to face it head on, someone who can look into the face of a god and just react with a smirk. Well, in the hands of someone with that perspective, chaos takes on a whole different meaning. And it takes on a whole new form. The form of Super Sonic. And like so much of this series, I don't know if Sonic Team really and truly understood how beautifully they represented everything that one word can entail in these two characters facing down. How wonderfully they contrast and clash, yet represent the exact same thing. And depending on your perspective, it can either consume you and destroy everything around you, or it can embolden you, strengthen you. And even if that wasn't the intent of what they were showing off here, I think they at least had an inkling of this idea. Because it was a controversial move to take away Super Sonic as a power-up and just leave him for an endgame battle. But it's hard to debate their reasoning after you've played through the entirety of Sonic Adventure. It's got a larger focus on narrative and an emphasis on the redesigns of the cast. And yeah, even if we could make a decent assumption of what this redesigned Sonic super form would look like, they still managed to do a brilliant job building up to this reveal. And sure, you might not be able to use the super form in previously played levels, but you didn't have to run through special stages for Chaos Emeralds either. It's not the same setup as before. What you instead had to do was make your way through the campaign with a different character, and in turn, you were rewarded with the final campaign. There aren't any special stages because these characters are the special stages. And wouldn't you look at that, when you beat the campaigns of these 6 characters, you unlock a 7th. Huh, what a coincidence. And I gotta tell you, despite everything else in this franchise, or the cheesy voice acting, or the sacrifices in gameplay expectations of what I wanted from Super Sonic, there are few moments in this franchise that can compare to that first reveal of the modern version of Super Sonic. You are about to face off against a water kaiju, a god fueled by Chaos Emeralds. But you take one look at Super Sonic, And you know he's got this, because he still exudes that wild power, that intensity, that burning aura, like a flame that not even this water deity can quell. And his fierce red eyes, that was just a bold design choice. There's this sheen of violent intensity, but he never lashes out, he never lets it get out of control. He's a Sonic that looks like he means business. This is chaos controlled. This is perfect chaos. This is supersonic. And you know what? Maybe I am looking too deep into it. Maybe it's just as simple as Super Saiyans look cool, so we thought we'd put it on Sonic. But it was here in this moment where it truly became its own to me. And whether it be a power-up or an endgame battle, and no matter how ridiculous it got to get all the emeralds in some of those later games, no matter how often I saw Supersonic, I was always happy to see him, and I will always be happy to see him, because that's what it means to me every single time he shows up. And no, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about the Fleetway interpretation today. Fact of the matter is, that's a completely different beast, and that needs to be covered when we cover the Fleetway comics. I've not read through all of them yet, so I don't think it would be fair to make an assessment, and it's worth exploring on its own terms in its own narrative. But if you want a surface level reaction to how I feel about that interpretation, I've never been a huge fan of it, because to me, Supersonic was the ultimate reward in the games. This is what you got after you managed to navigate the chaos of the special stages, and when you are proved capable of its challenge, you are bestowed its power. And this is how Sonic sent you off after you completed the game. This was the ultimate good ending, and that's how I was raised to see Supersonic. Be it classic, modern, adventure, it always shows off this intense energy flowing off the design, and his demeanor, calm and collected. He looks like a wildfire, and while it can be destructive if left unchecked, when left in the right hands, you can appreciate its beauty and its warmth. But Fleetway, it was everything negative you normally associate with chaos. Wanton violence, mindless destruction. He's everything I don't see when I look in the face of Supersonic from the games. And yes, I know he's showing off that calm demeanor because, again, that's copying the look of Goku, who looks like a boss as always. But just because the real-world origin story of Supersonic is underwhelming, it doesn't mean it has to stay that way. I mean, look at Goku. He only ever got that gold upgrade in the first place because Toriyama didn't want to waste any more ink. And look at what that came to represent for the entirety of that franchise. Seriously, if you read up on how Toriyama put that book together, it's total chaos. Again, wow, I just can't get rid of that word today. And look, I'm forever thankful for Dragon Ball for bringing us this Golden Hedgehog. And I'm in turn forever thankful for Supersonic for introducing me to Dragon Ball. Again, since they're showing no shame in where they're finding their inspiration, I was able to track down the source, and now I'm a huge fan of both. And despite the similarities, I think Sonic's story and his universe have more than enough to justify this golden glow and make it its own. Because Supersonic keeps teaching me something I often struggle with just from being a Sonic fan. It's something my friends in this community, my fans, and again our Golden Boy, keep reminding me. And that's that sometimes things are going to be good, and sometimes things will be bad. But you can't always get caught up in your own expectations and assumptions. You can critique, you can discuss, you can debate, but you can't stress over what you can't control. Because going beyond the Sonic franchise, life is random, and no matter how well you plan, it's gonna go off the rails from time to time. But what you can control is your own outlook, how you face that unknown. Are you going to cower in the dark, or are you going to be your own source of light and comfort? You can stress yourself out all day, or you can look at the future as a present, something to eagerly tear into to see the surprise. Because life is gonna keep coming fast, whether you like it or not. And sometimes, all you can do is open your heart and embrace the chaos. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. This very special day, that being Sonic's 30th birthday, or maybe a different day if you're watching this later. I thought it might be fun to come back around and just dig way too deeply into a silly super form like I did a couple years ago with Hypersonic. Yeah, a lot of it is just me interpreting just basic ideas of the franchise, but this is how I see it, and this is how I would play with those stories, so I hope you had a good time here. I'd love to know what you thought not only of this video, but of Supersonic, or of these forms, or why any of this silly superficial stuff matters so much to you like it does to me. I personally do spend a lot of time stressing out about the future of this channel, or have a little bit of an identity crisis. Should I keep Game Apologist as a brand name, or should I change it to represent every other thing I do on this one channel? Should I do multiples? I don't know. But it's times like that, or times when I get heated in podcasts over silly nonsense like re-releasing old Sonic games. It's times like that where it's good to learn life lessons like, yeah, embrace the chaos, chill out, have a good time. Whether or not this is ever the intention of the people that created this stuff, I think it's important for all of us to explore why this stuff matters to us. That was the point of me using the name Game Apologist. It wasn't because I want to call myself a game apologist. If I'm blunt with you, I think that's a very unhealthy mindset a lot of the time when it comes to expectations of this industry as a whole. But at the same time, regardless of how pessimistic I get, I do videos like this because I want to explore the emotional core that is there but nobody really explores. And at the end of the day, does it really matter or not if it was intentional? I don't know. The point is, even silly things like supersonic transformations, videos like this are very affirming. I think it's a very healthy means of me projecting myself and really trying to give you the best I can be. And despite all the craziness of the Sonic franchise, I am incredibly grateful that it is still around after all these years. We are celebrating its 30th birthday, and I'm excited to see what the next 30 years bring. And I'm excited to explore that with all you guys as well. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do, and be sure to check out our Sonic podcast, Sunset City, over on its own channel, in the Discords, the Twitters, all that fun stuff. And an extra special thank you to the patrons who support me over on Patreon. Guys, thank you so much for everything you do for me. I've been having such a fun time getting to know everybody on Discord, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys once I wrap this particular video up. So let's not waste any more time. Let's wrap things up here, and let's get back to celebrations. Toot toot, Sonic Warriors, and happy birthday, Sonic.